So this is Fawn Roads for my North Carolina Central University Special Problems course, and my professor is Wendalyn Perry, and this assignment is on blended families. And it says identify a family member or friend who has a blended family, who was raised in a blended family, or who was raised in a blended family, and ask the following 8 questions. And so the first question is describe your blended family.
Um, my blended family is that I am married and I have 2 kids, but I have also 3 kids from a previous family. So
Okay,
we're all blended.
you're all blended. All right. And so your next question is what were some of the challenges that you encountered, or what are some challenges, or have you encountered any challenges, and how have you reacted? So, have you encountered any challenges in your blended family? And if so, how have you reacted?
Well, there are times where I want to help, my kids from the previous marriage, and in doing so, I have to have the blessing of my current wife, which it could be a challenge if she was resistant to it, but she's not. She's all in, so she is 100% on my side of helping them when they need help.
Okay. Then the third question is, um, did you find, do you find effective communication very important? And did
Oh,
it, and does it bring unity to your family?
yes, communication is the key to any relationship.
Mhm.
So I find myself trying to over communicate at times
Mm,
uh so that we always are in tune to each other's feelings and how we feel so we can respect them.
when you say over communicate, can you explain what you mean by that?
Uh, like if there's any doubt, like I express my thoughts because sometimes we as human beings like to hold our stuff in or say, hey, I won't bother somebody with my thoughts, but I don't do that. I just make sure that I express myself in every situation so that there's an understanding about how I feel, and I want my wife to do the same. I want her to express how she feels. So, like I say, when there's hesitation in human nature to hold back on some communication,
Mhm.
I say never hold back. Communicate in all situations.
Okay. Next question is, what have you learned from living within a blended family?
Um, I have learned that love is love, and if someone loves you, then they would take in your blended family. And if you love somebody else, you'll be willing to accept their blended family as well.
Okay. And then the next question is, oh, that's not it. The next question is, do you have a positive or negative, have you had a positive or negative experience thus far? Um, and what has led, and what led you to feel either way, positive or negatively?
Mine would be all positive. Just like I was saying, it's the willingness to accept the other one's blended family, whether it be like my current wife's sister or her mother or anything. Or like I say, um, I think the willingness to accept that blended family is all positive. I just hope that it never be negative because I would hate to want to deal with that situation where somebody was not accepting to to something that was in the blended family, that wouldn't be good. I haven't
Mhm.
experienced that yet. And I hope I never have to.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. Um, how has verbal or non-communication played a part within your blended family?
Say that one more time.
How has nonverbal, how has how has verbal and nonverbal communication played a part? So yeah, played a part in your blended family. Would you say that that nonverbal communication is stronger than verbal, or would you say that they both kind of, you got to be able to
Oh,
read what's going on?
yeah, I don't want to ever assume what somebody feels. So I'm gonna make sure that it's verbal on my end, and I ask my wife to do the same, because the one thing is that you, to me, never want to do is assume the way somebody feels, because you really don't know. And I know sometimes we hope that people can read us and know how we feel, but and we're hoping that they can understand, but I just don't agree with ever assuming how someone feels. You want them to tell you so you'll know exactly how to react to how they feel instead of assuming, because it gets you in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I believe that that is a big challenge that a lot of people have, is um, that they assume
That's right.
information and opposed to taking the opportunity um, to communicate and find out how somebody
That's
really
right.
feels.
Or
And
either to listen, whether it is on the other side to listen to somebody.
that's right. And I think that what happens is that you people answer questions before they even have an answer, and
Mhm.
they answer it, like, oh well, if I'm not going to ask because they're going to say no, or I'm not going to ask because they're going to say yes, or whatever the case may be. And so you've already given yourself an answer to a question when you need to ask that person. You need to talk to them about what's going on, and
That's right. But you
and
know the old saying, what happens to people that assume?
they make
A
a
double
butt out of you and me.
S. A double S.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly right. I agree with you. All right. So the next question is, were there or have there been any instances of conflict, of confusion, jealousy, or any other difficulties that you have experienced?
None at all. You know, and
And
you probably
last,
wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have did the blended family thing if if there was any. So I would have to say there'd been none at all.
okay. And lastly, what feedback would you offer to a young blended family? Oh, that's a good question.
Other again, it'd be communicate. Make sure you have a willingness to love, or open love, and then the willingness to communicate.
Yeah,
Those are what I would say.
I
Just
think
be
you're
open
right.
to love. Be open to love, and make sure you communicate.
I agree with you 100%. Be open to love and the willingness to communicate. That is very true. And let's see, is there any other questions on this list? Let's see.